You have 50 houses that you're essentially going to buy every month, right?
Yep.
Because if you have 150 go on the market, 50 you buy from the owner.
Yep.
That doesn't look good to me as somebody who has that kind of money. I mean, it could be wrong, but where are you getting the funds to buy? Because you're buying 50 houses a month. What does that equate to? A couple $1,000,000?
Uh, Millions.
Yeah,
A couple of things that would be good to know. I mean, Doug owns uh, just under 100 rental properties cash.
that's not surprising.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so he has all these rental properties, and with doing so, you can put together portfolio loans,
Okay.
right? When you have all of these assets that do not have any liens, you
Okay.
can go to
Okay.
banks and get unique lines of finance that, again,
Okay.
the normal public just doesn't have access to,
Right.
and we can have
Right.
the kind of assets that they do. Doug is very, very financially sound. I mean,
Okay.
we have a sister company in California called Sellers Advantage that my uncle runs, and Doug's a partner over there as well. And they do just about as many contracts as we do. There's an awful lot of
Yeah.
revenue
Okay.
coming in where buying those properties is
Mhm.
not an issue at all.
Okay.
But we're not necessarily taking all of them down. We have some
Right.
great partners, right,
Okay.
that we will wholesale these properties to. We can't buy 50. I mean, the amount of money, crews, material, etc., would be so massive, it would be very,
Mhm.
very difficult to scale. And so we probably have 8 buyers or
Okay.
so that are contractors that want to flip properties, and they work directly with us, right? Whereas I'd love to help people understand the difference of cash offers now because it's really, really important.
It
Doug's
is.
cash offer is guaranteed. So there
Yeah.
is zero cancellation,
Mhm.
there's no inspection, and we do very, very aggressive amounts of earnest money.
But that's after you vet it like you talked about. Like you're gonna go meet the client face to face, the homeowner. You're gonna make sure what they're telling you is actually true. That the
Correct.
house is in. Yeah. Okay. And then so we have a question that's kind of, I guess, related to where you're going with this. Do you shy away from stuff like manufactured or historic homes?
No, but
Okay.
it's all just about the product.
Right.
And how long is this going to
Right.
take to take? I mean, so
Okay.
I have people in Paradise Valley that'll reach out and they'll say, "Hey, I got to tear down. I got this. I got that. I'm wanting 200 grand, under retail," and they don't understand that. Hey, the holding costs alone for that will
Right.
eat that profit. I mean, so with some of the luxury stuff, I mean, it's much deeper than a
Mhm.
3-2 tile stucco home in Gilbert would be. I can be
Right.
super aggressive on that.
Right.
Whereas a luxury home, not so much. Or hey, I
Right.
got a manufactured home on 3 acres in
Mhm.
Florence. That's going to be a tougher property.
Right.
That days on
Right.
market's going to be a lot longer. The holding cost is more. The risk is higher. Therefore, we're going to have a little more margin to be able to work with. Right.
And I learned that with you with a couple of things we talked about last year, that you don't think about it as a normal everyday realtor and or homeowner, that you have to figure in all the holding costs, because when the market's slow, then your holding costs, I don't know how to explain it. You have to take into account it's going to take you maybe 90 days to sell that house that you're buying.
Totally. And that
Yeah.
money has a cost.
Right.
Right.
That's what I was trying to get at. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so people think that, Doug just has $100 million sitting in the
Mhm.
bank. No,
Yeah.
that wouldn't be smart, right? In
Yeah. Yeah.
fact, if your money's just sitting in the bank, you're losing purchasing power every single year
Mm.
with inflation, right?
Mhm.
And so that's where you have your money in assets and then you take a loan against those assets, right, to deploy it, but that loan is still prime plus a point or two. And so you're still paying, 7, 8% on that money.
Mhm.
Is that a great rate? Is that awesome to be able to leverage? Yes, but it still costs us money,
Right.
especially when there's millions of dollars out at a time.
Right.
So there's for sure holding costs, there's utilities, there's landscaping, there's insurance, that most people just do not think about, right,
Mhm.
when it comes to having the property done and dialed.
Right.
Security for some properties, because some areas have an issue. So we might have to pay for internet to be on to get
Mhm.
security cameras up so
Right.
that people aren't stealing the appliances.
Right.
So
I
it
Fairly
happens.
valid.